Dear learners, Assalamu alaikum. What's up today? Actually, I'm really fine, but I don't know exactly how actually you're passing your time, but I'm going to say, hopefully saying that you're passing your time with great enjoyment, anyway. But actually, Corona has been increased totally in this winter season, so stay safe and sounds with me and keep an eye with my class all the time because I'm just gonna to take the big important class to teach the students better grammars, how to speak, how to write all those times. So every day keep an eye on my channels, and if you're just new here, so don't forget to subscribe my channel. Also don't forget to push the bell icon so that you can get a new notification when I'm just gonna to teach you different kinds of lesson. Every day you can find out my lesson. Even if you'd like to learn better English, you can just go to my playlist. Then just you can search the matters. Today, my lesson will be held here. Past participle or perfect participle. Past participle means here is some classification uses here. What is past participle? Past participle means verb content, verb 3 form. The verb form in 3, past participle form, all this time it is called past participle. Participle, there are 3 classification of participle: present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. But among them, after, already I have taken the class on present participle, but today I would like to take the class on past participle because it plays a crucial role in to understand the better English. So there is some classification uses I have shown here. Past participle. Actually, all the past participle, you can understand of seeing that past participle, verb with ed or different kinds of classification, or a strong verb maybe. If you just see any sentences, among the sentences, any places verb 3, that it is, you can call it past participle. But there are some classifications, some uses, particularly just I'm going to say, if you see here, perfect tense. If you'd like to just understand where, if you just follow any kinds of perfect tense, that time past perfect tense means verb 3. After have, has, had, you can set of verb 3. Here is written, past participle form. So this is one kind of uses of past participle, as a perfect tense. Second option, if you'd like to make any kinds of passive sentence, why we just learn the passive form, actually why we can just understand the passive form before, past participle form, here is remaining auxiliary verb. So you can find out here's passive form. If you'd like to understand the past participle, one kind of use here's passive form. English is taught in Dance English Care. English is taught is Dance English Care. Okay, number 3, I have already discussed here 2 options. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Having, being, even, ever, to be, have, as, had. After that, if we see any kinds of verbal word that contains past participle form, on kinds of structures, features of past participle. Here is looking here, having seen the dog, he ran away. So here I would like to teach you big important class, because perfect participle I have written here. Also you can understand after having, if you see any kinds of verb from verb 3, that you will understand this is perfect participle. Also you can say here past participle, but exactly if we just find out perfect participle, that you can understand after having, if we see any kinds of verb contains verb 3 form, that is called perfect participle. Here I have just used some examples here. Having finished the work, I went there. Having finished the work, I went there. Having boiled water, we drank. Having gone there, we heard the news. But there is some differences, uses of past participle and perfect participle, because after having, we just see here, verb content here is verb 3, but after comma, we can see here's only past indefinite tense. All the sentence past indefinite tense. So after having, if we see any kinds of verb from verb 3, we can call here perfect participle that is contained after comma. If we see here's past tense. I think you have got my lesson. After having, if we see any kinds of verb 3 forms, we can understand this is perfect participle. This is perfect participle form, because there are some three classification of participle: present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. So easily understandable figures perfect participle, because after having, we see here's verb 3, and after comma, if we see here's past tense, that we can call it perfect participle. Okay, I think you have got my lesson. Okay, so it's a big important part, because here is two classification of participle, that is past participle. Also we can call there perfect participle, but it is exactly we can told here perfect participle, because after having, if we see any kinds of verb 3 forms, that time we can call it perfect participle. Okay, let's have a look. Here's number 4. As an adjective form, it is called, we can, if we see before noun any kinds of verbal form, verb 3, chairs, noun, before any kinds of verbal form that is contained verb 3, that we can call adjective. As an adjective, it is used past participle. It is a broken chair. It is a broken chair. Number 4, I think you have got my lesson. Again, I'm just going to discuss here. Before noun, if we see any kinds of verbal word and contains this verbal word, verb 3, past participle form, that is use of adjective. As an adjective, past participle use. Number 5, plural common noun. As a plural common noun, past participle. As a plural common noun, past participle. Plural common, what is plural common noun? That verbal form contains verb 3 and also meaning the plural form. The educated. It's a one kind of, race. Race. Nation. A crate. The educated. It's contained here's meaning plural form. So we have just set up here's verb plural. So the educated are honored everywhere. The educated are honored everywhere. And even you can see here's before plural common noun, one kind of article remaining here's the educated. Learned. The educated, the learned. Before verbal 3 contains here before article, that time it contains the plural meaning of Bangla. So the educated are honored everywhere. So we can call it plural common noun, because after before verb 3 we are seeing here's article, and it means a plural meaning of Bangla. So this is, we can call here, it's actually contain all kinds of crest, race, nation, not nation actually, crest. You have understood my lesson. All the surroundings figures, educated person or learned person. So we can just call it plural common noun as past participle use. Number 6, if we just add, man here's noun, he is a noble-minded man. Man means nouns, and mind also noun. But if the noun contains here's finishing time ed, that works as adjective and it is work past participle form. He is a noble-minded man. So mind also noun, mind also key, noun, man also noun. But if before noun if we just find out any kinds of noun and lastly added ed, that time it works as an adjective, and adjective also time works as a past participle if you just contain verb 3 form. I mean, he is a noble-minded man. Okay, number 7, relative pronoun. I mean, instead of relative pronoun, we can use your past participle form. Actually, this sentence content here, the car which is made in Japan is working hard. This is relative. The car which is made in Japan is working hard. I mean, this is relative pronoun. But if we just, this is complex sentence. But if we just use here's simple sentence, I mean simple complex compound, you have just you're familiar with these figures. That time if just remain after subject any kinds of verbal or contains verb 3, and after finishing time main verbs also available there. That time we just call their relative pronoun. I mean the sentence contain the car which is made in Japan is work as past participle form. So last but not the least, any kinds of verb, if it contains verb 3 form, that time we can call past participle. That's the finishing words. And participle, what's the work of participle? Actually, participle works all time adjective. All time adjective. Actually, this is a big important lesson, I mean teaching from myself, because this kind of grammar actually is not available. But if you'd like to fill up any kinds of gaps, I mean fill in the gaps, that time we cannot depend on these figures, especially the gerund participle, I mean present participle, past participle, perfect participle. Also we can just cannot depend on to infinitive, because non-finite verb actually classified 3 categories. Non-finite verb words, I mean contains these 3 sectors: gerund, participle, or to infinitive. So I have already taken the class on gerunds, present participle. Also I have just taken past participle as well as perfect participle, because there is a very little discussion of perfect participle. Perfect participle means before verb 3, if you see here's having. I mean here is also lots of word: having, being, even, ever, to be, have, has, had. After that, if we see here's past participle, that kind of word actually we can call their past participle or perfect participle. Okay, again I'm just going to discuss here, so I'm just going to read here. He has written a book. I mean written here is past participle. English is taught in English don't scare. This is passive sentence and verb contains as verb 3, so we can call it past participle. Having seen the dog, he ran away. You can just call here 2 figures, past participle, also perfect participle. But we can say here's perfect participle because this is the one kind of, I mean, precondition of observing or understanding the figures. After having, if we see verb 3, I mean, we can call it perfect participle. Also, we can call past participle. And it is a broken chairs. Here the broken works as the adjective, so we can call it past participle. Plural common noun works as a plural common noun. Plural common noun means, I mean, any kinds of verb, verbal form, it contains verb 3, and before we set up here's article, that time it means it expresses the plural meaning of this word, and it actually one kind of use of plural common noun, so we can call it past participle. And if we see, I mean side by side, if we see double noun and last noun before the nouns, if we set up ed, I mean that times it works as a adjective, and we can call it past participle. Relative pronoun, instead of relative pronoun we can set up past participle. I mean the sentence was remaining here: the car which is made in Japan is working well, but we just delete here that figures contain here past after subject. If we see any kinds of verb 3 form, and last time if we see the main verbs, that time we call it is past participle. I mean last but not the least, it can be crystal clear from the above discussion that any kinds of verb remain verb 3 form, that time we can call past participle. And if we set up before having, that time we can call both past participle, also perfect participle. Okay, I just gonna to discuss here today. I have just taken class as a English figures, so you have just got my lesson today, and comment me how actually understand my class well, you can just find it, comment me. Okay, thank you. Allah Hafiz.